Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Let's just wait a little bit for Leonel to join. Hopefully, it won't take them too long. We're gonna have here Gabriel, and I think we're also gonna have here shortly. Good evening, Gabriel.
Wow. Here we
And
are.
we have Leonel over here. So the
Hello,
gang's all back together.
how are you?
So
Exactly.
everyone's doing fine. Hope you guys had a great week last week. Hope everyone had a nice weekend as well. And as always,
Amazing.
Well, we've
it's
been
Monday.
we've been working hard, but things are moving.
Awesome. So it's once again Monday evening. So welcome back to another Unplugged live session. I'm Sérgio Costa from Portugal EV Tours from the north of the country. Joining me tonight, as always, I have Gabriel Lima from GL Tours in the Algarve, and then Leonel Rodrigues, based in the central area of Portugal from Desirable Portugal Tours. So this evening, another very interesting topic for nature lovers, and I know I'm one of them, especially having graduated in biology, because that's my passion for nature. And we're going to talk a little bit about outdoor activities and natural wonders. So, yeah, I have a few things to talk about over here. And this, as always, I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on the north and
Of course.
inland portion of the country. And well, obviously, wintertime right now, well, because we had a massive snowfall just a couple of days ago, natural beauty, hiking trails, for me, it's a wonderful time to go up to Serra da Estrela and to enjoy the hiking trail that goes from Lagoa Comprida all the way to Covão dos Conchos.
Mm-hmm.
So, very beautiful
Amazing.
hiking trail. Just be aware
Indeed.
that if you're going over there during this time of the year, it's fabulous, it's scenic. If you're coming to Portugal to escape the snow, well, probably this is not the best the
Yeah.
best hiking trail for you. But I love doing that hike. Just be aware that it's in altitude, so the air is a little bit thin over there. And it's going to be a proper workout, especially when you're carrying a lot of jackets, a lot of layers on you. But I would say it's a hike worth doing because the reward is very, very nice. You arrive to Covão dos Conchos, frozen lake surrounded by snow as well. Just some hints of some grass, some bushes over there as well. And then you have the magnificent draining canal, which almost looks like an oversized funnel, just draining from Covão dos Conchos, which is fantastic during the winter. You can see the frozen, a sort of a frozen rain, frozen waterfall over there. It's an amazing place. Just be aware that, well, few words of caution, and this is coming from a person who is a local over there in that area. She told me that there was once a hiker who got lost. And with the cold, and I've actually experienced that myself over here in Porto on a very cold night, the batteries on your mobile devices, they drain rather quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get lost, just be sure to take an extra power bank or something with you because you're definitely gonna need it up there. And luckily, that person, the person who got lost, was found the next morning, the following day, and she was able to survive unharmed, etc. But she basically spent a night outside in the freezing cold of Serra da Estrela,
Wow.
which is probably gonna be an experience that she's gonna remember,
Mm-hmm.
and not for the best of reasons. So yeah, this is the first one that I wanted to share with you. So yeah, the hiking trail Covão dos Conchos for people who enjoy beautiful, fresh scenery, just snow-covered mountains. Nearby, you also have a few other interesting locations, and another one. It's not a hiking per se; it's a very tiny, tiny park, Covão da Metade. It's also a very, very beautiful location, and it's almost like an enchanted forest during the winter time. So Serra da Estrela, the mountain. You already have two very good options over there, but there's plenty more. But I'm not going to dwell too much on winter destinations because right now it's cold. I have the AC on, and we all like the warmth a little bit. So, taking advantage of this, this is a fantastic plug to toss the ball to Gabriel. Speaking of warmth, so what do you recommend down there, Gabriel?
Well, there's so much to explore around here. Of course, the weather in the Algarve, it's absolutely amazing. We had some rain. Thank God we had some rain. Okay, some days it was a bit annoying. Actually, I postponed 2 tours, but then they were okay. And yeah, we had a few days of rain, some mornings, some afternoons. But sweet Lord, after the rain gone, the evil gone, I've been doing some amazing off the beaten path tours, tours to some areas where we have, springs and also rivers and dams and reservoirs. So it's been absolutely amazing to see everything green and the water running and listening the water running, for instance, in Paderne by the castle or the medieval Roman bridge. Also, the big fall in Halt. Well, not as big, but it was really big this time. And everywhere. I remember as soon as we were stopping somewhere, I was enjoying so much the sound of the water running. For instance, it's something that I like very much in Jerez, in North Portugal, because it's always there's always a water running. So it's been really amazing. In the Algarve, of course, per se, we don't have a winter. Only when it's raining, it looks like a winter. And for instance, today it was a bit cold, but I mean, we are talking about 16, 17 degrees, 65 Fahrenheit. So, and the sun's still always warm. So it's the perfect season to visit the Algarve, I would say, just touching this matter too, because when people they think they ask sometimes when is the best season to explore the natural wonders. Well, certainly in the Algarve, it's not July and August. Of course, some people they only can come to visit us in July and August. So still beautiful things to explore: the caves, the coastline, the fisherman trails, the seven hanging valleys, the Ria Formosa. But if I have to say when is the best season, I would say it's after the first rain. So I would say November, December, now January, February, until summer, because it's amazing, right? So the weather is great. We don't have crowds now, so even the most popular spots like Ponta da Piedade, Algar Seco, Seven Hanging Valleys, they are amazing now in winter. But then we have so many others, right? Monchique, Caldeirão, Mountain Range, Rocha da Pena, Fonte Benémola, and then even along the coastline, even here close to where I live, the Salgados Lagoon, the Salgados Trail, Lagoa das Garças, so the lagoon close to Armação de Pere too. And then we have these, of course, the Ria Formosa Nature Park, 65 kilometers long. So we have many, many trails along the water, and this is amazing. And then we have a big array of water activities. We have amazing surf schools. I have been posting sometimes in Faro Island. They have a very good surf school, not just surf, paddling, kayak. There's another one, very good one in Galé, on the outskirts of Albufeira. And then, of course, the most popular ones in the West Coast, and especially Sagres area and Carrapateira. So, I mean, there's so much to explore around here. And then even away from these nature parks, these protected areas, we just need to get lost into these trails. Yesterday, I just left home. I went for a walking here on the northern outskirts of Albufeira, and I was walking with my daughter, and we were, contemplating the flowers, and I was sharing with her about, the carob trees and the almond trees now with the blossom, the white flower and the pink flower. And I was just telling her, see, Leah, we don't need much to be happy here because we live in a beautiful garden. And of course, this is the Algarve, but it works for the whole country because we have such a beautiful country, including the islands, of course. Of course, I living here in South, I explore way more the Algarve and also the Alentejo. I love, the Guadiana Nature Park too, amazing Myrtla areas. 3, 4 days ago, I've been in Alcotim and Castro Marim. There's a nature park there too. So it's really amazing. We can do so much. We can hiking, we can cycling, we can just walking. There's some nice events throughout the winter too, here and there. So it's a perfect season to visit all these spots, let's say beyond the most popular spots that it comes to our mind when we think about traveling to Portugal. So, Lionel, I'm pretty sure you have lots of great places there. I know you have, of course. I know the place too, more or less, but you know way more, right? I know yesterday or 2 days ago, yesterday, I think you went for a nice off the beaten path tour with your family and
Well,
friends. Jesus, it was amazing.
it was
I need to go with you too.
it was a tour on my backyard, okay? Because those are the places where, well, when I have some time, I go for a mountain bike rides around that area. And driving, I wasn't more than like 15 to 20 minutes from where I live. So pretty much it was all around here. And before I go to that, well, I just want to reply here
Yeah,
to some
there
of
are many questions. I
some of the
didn't see it,
questions.
but yes,
Okay,
yeah,
I saw Thomas just ask you a few things. Well, red wines and cheeses, that is probably more Sergio's topic. Okay, but well, he knows a few things about that. But famous waterfalls in Portugal. Oh, well, there's a big list. I already saw here some people mentioning some really cool ones in the Algarve, okay, Quedas Vigário, Pego do Inferno, and so on. You need to be aware that some of the waterfalls, you need to be during winter because in the summertime, they pretty much dry out considerably.
yeah.
And, well, I have on my record several years ago going for a hike to see a waterfall like 2 kilometers and the waterfall was pretty much just dripping. But well, it happens. But I just want to mention some okay, really cool ones, and I got to one here that no one talks about, but a lot of people want to see the schist villages, okay? And one of the most famous schist villages is Piodon, that in fact, has been, well, it's a place I've been going for almost 30 years and I've seen it changing. And on the way to get there, there is, well, a preserved forest area called Mata da Margaraça that has Fraga da Pena. This is a really cool waterfall in central Portugal, and it's an area to explore. And why do I mention this? I was just reading an article a few hours ago about some investment being done by the tourism office to try to shift people from the crowded areas and invest in the promotion on the inland Portugal and the interior areas of Portugal. So these places might start getting a bit more popular. I don't believe they're going to get so crowded as well the popular places unless there's some famous movie or series or whatever that is filmed over there and attracts some buses of people, but that's another story. But inland Portugal has plenty of things to observe, like these kind of places. But now I'm going to just drop here 2 spots, smaller ones that are like 15 minutes away from the places that get millions of visitors per year. In Sintra municipality area, you have 2 waterfalls, okay? Ansos waterfall and Fervença waterfall. They are small ones. You need to go there during the rainy seasons or some wet seasons. But they are still cool to watch, okay? Beware of the trails to get there. They normally are a bit slippery and muddy. But these places, if you're just around Sintra, it's like a 15-20 minute drive to get to these places. A little bit of a hike down to the spot. But, well, it's possible to see some waterfalls nearby. So speaking of this topic, there's a lot to see. But I want to focus in something that once again some places have become very popular and others are really cool and people miss them a lot, okay? And I want to talk about the new trend of the boardwalks, passadiços, okay? Everybody wants to go to Passadis to Paiva. I don't know if they are totally reopened yet or not. They were affected by the fires. They were just partially open. But everybody wants to go there, and people go crazy about Passadis to Paiva. Well, there are plenty of them, okay? Plenty of those Passadisos around the country. Another one's Passadis Mondego, a little bit further east. But then if you search on the word across Portugal or on Google Maps or so, there's always something that you can see here and there. And sometimes you don't need to be like a big extension of 6, 7, 8 kilometers. Oh, thank you, Pedro, for mentioning they are not fully open yet. You don't need to go on a hike or 6, 7, or 8 kilometers to do the whole boardwalk. Sometimes just a place that has a stunning landscape and you do like a half a mile or half kilometer, 1 kilometer whatsoever, it's more than worth it, okay? Unless you want to go for a big one that the landscape changes totally, I don't feel that you need to do like 6 or 7 or 8 kilometers of a boardwalk pretty much on the same kind of environment. So when you'll get halfway, it will be a bit of the same old same. So wherever you are in Portugal, search for passadiços. I'm pretty sure that you will have some with some beautiful rocky formations, with some waterfalls, with some rivers, and then another cool ones near the ocean. You have some really nice boardwalks near the ocean. You have some really nice boardwalks through some forest areas or even in some partly city areas. Okay, I know that some places, well, even in the north, you have places, by example, that Vizela, they have some boardwalks over there. If you go to the beach around Caparica, you have Mata dos Medos, you have some nice boardwalks over there. So these are some really cool activities with an extra thing that it's very relevant. When you are walking through one of these boardwalks, two things. First, you are not harming the environment per se because you are walking on something that is planned to be walked. So you are not just walking over dunes, over some plants or even some new trees that are just starting to grow, whatever. You are walking in a boardwalk that was planned to be used, okay, and you are doing it in safety. Because supposedly, okay, and I say supposedly, those are intended to be safer. You have some handrails, they are not so slippery. Well, always be cautious because it's wood and it can change with the time, okay, but it's something for people to enjoy. Because I see sometimes people exploring here and there, and well, things sometimes don't go so well because the trail is slippery and it's not so easy. And I have a very good example that is in the furthest northern point of Portugal, the landmark number 1. The first time I went there, okay, I almost fell into the river and I got all scratched with all the vegetation over there, and so there was no boardwalk at all. Okay, that was probably 10 years ago. Now there's a nice boardwalk to go there and explore. So you can do that in a safer way, and of course you will find out the place much easier than I did the first time I was there. But now I'm going to the topic, where we started and what Gabriel sent to me, what I did yesterday. Well, I was pretty much in a local tour around my backyard. And the furthest I was from Lisbon was probably 35, 40 minutes. There's some mountain areas that have a lot of history related with the defense lines of Torres Vedras, okay, Linhas Torres. Curiously, yesterday when we went to the top of the mountain, they were having a mass celebration over there. There's a sanctuary, there's a chapel. The ladies over there were selling some chorizo bread and some sweets and so on. So that was quite a highlight that we weren't expecting to find over there at the top. But just to mention, we saw windmills, we saw cork forests, we saw the beautiful colors of the countryside, and we just visited places that don't come on the travel books. So this is a really nice experience, and of course, local knowledge helps a lot, but I challenge people to just go out and explore a little bit, okay? Avoid the major highways. In fact, there's a section of the road we took that is just on the side of the highway. So we were driving right next to the highway. We were seeing all the cars, and we were on the only ones on that little section of road. And it's just what we've been saying around here, that is sometimes you need to slow down a little bit. The less is more, because these are the hidden gems. These are the hidden places that we end up finding. And yesterday we didn't have the chance because I didn't want to bother the owners of the windmill, but it can be open to be seen inside, and I just got to know that the windmill was totally restored according to the ancient techniques. And this was pretty much, well, part of my work on Saturday, to track the owner, who owns the windmill, to reach the person to, well, to ask for a permit to go over there. And you go to a cafe, you go to a local association, you talk with this or that person, and you always get some hint like, oh, you are searching for this, but do you know that you have that other one that was recently restored, or that place over there that does this or does that? So we see a lot of people asking about ways to connect with the locals, people that really want to immerse in the local culture. So consumer advice: enter the little cafe, the little shop, the little local association, okay? And of course, well, get a coffee, get a pastry, get a sandwich, whatever, but ask questions, okay? What can we see over here? What can we do over here? Is there any artisan over here? Is there any, well, local shop that you feel that is interesting to do, okay? Or to visit? So it's not just about visiting natural spots or beautiful spots, okay? Right around the corner, sometimes you have some unique places to visit and to learn about the local culture that are totally worth it. And I'm pretty sure that if you if you ask about that, and people well, get somehow an unexpected visit from someone that appreciates their craft and their work, they will be very, very thankful, okay, to have you there, to, well, at least they can tell their story to, well, to someone from another area of the world. So this is pretty much, well, what I wanted to leave over here. And well, I'm gonna pass back to Sergio, because I'm pretty sure you have something else to add, at least, well, red wines and cheeses. But
Oh, yeah.
well, these are my thoughts about this. So there's a lot to do around here.
Mhm. So yeah, even though it's a little bit, I'm not going to say off topic, but it's definitely one of the things that interests the most. After doing a bit of a hike, obviously you want to just replenish your energies a little bit more. And so the typical way that we do it over here, other than the thing that we call the soups of tired horse, it's with a little bit of red wine and cheese. And if you add bread to the mix, you have what we call the holy trinity of foods, particularly at the Douro Valley. But yeah, red wine and cheese, Serra da Estrela. That's the place. The down wine region, that's the place where you have to go. If you venture a little bit further up the mountain, you're going to reach the summit of the mountain. A lot of Portuguese drove there this weekend because we had the first major snowfall of the year. And so the place was packed this weekend. And just at the very top, you're going to find some little shops where the merchants are very eager to have you taste their merchandise. And when we say merchandise, we're talking about the cheese, we're talking about the charcuterie, we're also talking about their liqueurs, we're talking about the wine. So there's a little bit of everything over there. And for sure that you're going to leave the place well satisfied, for sure. Um, Wineries is a little bit further down the mountain, and there's plenty of them over there in that area. So very beautiful area, the Down Wine region. And I don't get tired to say this, as a person who loves the Douro Valley, I'm feeling more and more drawn towards the Down Wine region as of late. So I also want to complement the question, Thomas' question about waterfalls. Well, over here in the north, and because of the topography of the north of the country, which is quite a bit more hilly and steep when compared to the Alentejo, for example, or the south, we do, and because we have this conjugation of factors over here, the topography of the region plus the amount of rainfall that we get in the north means that we're going to have plenty of waterfalls over here. And if you go to the National Park of Peneda Gerês, that's the place where you have a big concentration of waterfalls in a relatively small area. And you have some of the most spectacular ones, or at least some of the most popular ones in the country, are precisely over here. So the question was about popular waterfalls, famous waterfalls. Freixa da Miserela, Cascata do Arado, Cascata da Cabreira are just three of the major examples, and all three of them are in the Peneda Gerês National Park. So this is one of the things. I like to also like to talk a little bit about the inland portion of the country, because there are two places that I like very much. One of them is smaller. It's quite a bit unknown. Well, I'm actually going to talk a little bit about three, because Leonel introduced the concept of the boardwalks during the conversation. So I'm actually going to talk about three locations. So let's start with the natural park. I have been saying this for people who have been paying attention. There is one that I love. It's in Lamego, right at the entrance of the Douro Valley. You just need to cross the Douro River to the south side, and you go to the top of the Miadas mountain range, and you have over there the natural park of Miadas. Best time of the year to visit, I've been telling people, it's November, because the park is beautiful. It's well structured, it's clean. And one of the things that I like to do when I'm going over there is to just enjoy and take pictures of all of the mushrooms that pop up in the area. I'm no mushroom expert, so I don't touch them, but I like to take pictures of the mushrooms that grow over there. And I have some interesting pictures of that. Well, it's a weird hobby, but hey, if you're out on if you're out walking a little bit, it might be something interesting to do and to distract you a little bit, because you don't see that variety of mushrooms that they have over there quite often. So there's that. It's also a sort of an animal sanctuary where you have deer, horses. They even have extra friendly donkey over there, and we are cautioned by the guards at the entrance. Don't get too close to him, because he likes to bite on your clothes so that you won't be able to leave, because he likes being petted. He's a very friendly donkey, but yeah, don't get too close to him, otherwise he won't let you leave. But then you also have over there some birds of prey who were rescued, who suffered some injuries, being hunted or whatnot, or mistakenly shot, and who unfortunately can no longer be put back out into nature, and so they now serve educational purposes over there in the park. So we're talking owls, we're talking most generally birds of prey, both nocturnal as well as daytime birds of prey. So these are some of the things that you can see over there. Going on to Leonel's topic of boardwalks, a lot of people talk about Passadiço do Paiva. That's probably the most famous boardwalk in Portugal right now. In the Douro Valley, if you go a little bit further inland and a little bit south, it's not Douro Valley. I would say it's more like the Távora Varosa wine region. There's a place over there called uh, the Távora Walkways. It's a very
I
beautiful
love
lake.
those ones. I
It's
love those ones.
it's a very beautiful one. It has one big advantage. For people who have mobility issues, it's mostly flat.
Yeah.
So there's no going up and down stairs like you have to do with the Paiva walkways. So the Tavro ones are mostly flat. You actually have a very interesting bridge over there crossing the lake,
Mhm.
and you also have a bird watching area which was designed to resemble like a oversized mechanical
And
spider. So it's
you,
very interesting.
you have a
And
beautiful hotel convent nearby where I had the
also,
chance to be there overnight. We were the only guests over there. Okay, we were treated like, well, a king and queen, me and my wife, because we were the only guests on that ancient convent transformed the hotel. Beautiful place.
yeah. So you see, that's one of the advantages of going both a little bit inland as well as during the low season. So a lot of people don't venture out, and we have to start. That's what we've been doing. That's what Unplug is
Yeah,
all
yeah.
about. It's precisely
Hmm.
talking about these lesser known destinations.
Hmm.
Third place that I like to talk, well, it has more to do with wildlife, and I'm going to impinge a little bit on Gabriel's turf right now as well with my recommendations. But I remember being studying, taking the biology degree, and one of the teachers, he was huge in the conservation effort of the Iberian wolf. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that they like to do when they go out to take a census to see if the wolf population is present or not in a certain area, they have to go at night and they have to howl like wolves. So
Mm-hmm.
he likes to he says that sometimes he and two or three of his colleagues, they go out and they are like the crazy guys just howling at the moon, kind of like the wolves do, to see if they get an answer back. Where you can do that, National Park of Peneda Gerês. In fact, the symbol of the park is precisely a wolf together with the
Mm-hmm.
deer. This is the type of animals that you can expect to find over there in the region. And then the other place, I haven't been there personally, but it's one of the places that is definitely on my bucket list. And the chances of coming across this animal are extremely rare. So don't be disappointed if you don't run into one. But just the place itself, I heard and I have seen pictures, it's very beautiful. Serra da Malcata,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right at the
Yeah.
border
Very
with
popular.
Spain. And when we talk about Serra da Malcata, the animal that immediately comes to mind is the Iberian lynx,
Mm-hmm.
the most endangered wildcat in the world, but it's also a success history because the population is finally bouncing back, and we now
Mm-hmm.
have, I believe, it's over 1,300 individuals living in over here in the Iberian Peninsula. So between Portugal and Spain is not a big number, and we still have to keep conservation efforts ongoing,
Mm-hmm.
particularly breeding in captivity. And this is the part where I impinge a little bit on Gabriel's turf because you know that there is a reproduction center
Silvish.
in
In
Silves,
Silvish, yeah.
precisely in the Algarve.
Close to the Silvish Dam. Yeah.
So for people wanting to do a little bit of this fauna and flora tourism, these are some of my recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, I don't know if we have many amphibian aficionados or herpetologists over here in the group, but this is definitely something of a very and extremely niche experience. Portugal is actually very prolific in terms of amphibian and reptile life. So we're talking salamanders, we're talking lizards, we're talking turtles, we're talking snakes, all of that. So there's plenty of that, and we have plenty of indigenous species that are exclusive over here to the Iberian Peninsula, and particularly in Portugal. So if you go out on such a hiking trail completely off the beaten path and you go down to a little waterfall, you might come across things like the Iberian frog, some
Yeah.
water vipers even, and some salamanders. We have a red belly salamander over here, which is a very unique thing in the world. It's the only species of salamander that breeds exclusively through the skin, so it's not very widespread. And it's a salamander that actually has no lungs. It breeds exclusively through the skin. And it only exists over here in Portugal. It's very difficult to come across it. And it's also somewhat endangered. But we have beautiful animals, beautiful examples of fauna and flora over here. I'm more leaning towards the animals because that's the most spectacular thing to do. We also have some very amazing plants over here, including some carnivorous plants that are exclusive to Portugal. And so we are a bit of a treasure trove of natural wonders that people often don't realize it, and
Yeah.
they come for
Mm-hmm.
all of the typical reasons. I mean, the climate, the weather, the wine, the gastronomy, the monuments, the history. But there's also a side of Portugal, the natural side of Portugal. It's one of our biggest assets, and Portugal is actually one of the countries in Europe, and I would dare even say in the world, that has a very large percentage of its total area that is actually protected, be it in a natural park, which we have something like 26 or 27 natural parks. We have one national park, that's it,
Yeah.
the National Park of Peneda Gerês. And then we also have plenty of these little reserves and forested
Mm-hmm.
areas that are protected throughout the country. So
Mm-hmm.
it's an incredible place to come for nature lovers. Each
Oh,
place has
definitely.
unique qualities. If you're coming during the summer and if you want to see waterfalls, maybe the south is not the best option. Maybe the
No.
north is. If you want to see some plant life, some animal life, no matter where you go, you're going to find something interesting, something unique. And it's actually one of the things, as a biologist, I like to just take my time watching how the vegetation changes from one location to the next, from the foot of the mountain to the top of the mountain, what kind of animals you can find. And for me, the little child in me gets super excited whenever I see a little creek just running around, and I'm always wondering what kind of animals live nearby, because we know that water is life. And so there's a lot of animals that depend on those little creeks, those little lakes. And for example, I mentioned the at the beginning of the conversation, Cubão dos Conchos, Serra da Estrela. You wouldn't believe the huge population of Iberian frogs that lives over there. It's huge, it's massive. If you go there during the summer, it's also very beautiful. But I lost track after counting something like, I don't know, 40, 45 frogs in an area that is the equivalent of, I don't know, 3 by 4 meters. So I don't know, that's what, 16 to 20 square meters. And we had more than 40 frogs in just the one big slab of stone just over there, sunbathing a little bit. So yeah, it's these are some of the things, some of the natural wonders that we have over here in Portugal. We've talked a little bit about parks, walkways. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add.
Well, I become a bit speechless because, I'm a huge fan of nature, but I can see you are really passionate about it too. And I learned things that I never heard about it, to be honest. So, well, amazing. I think this is amazing. And of course, I know better the Algarve. I don't know so well some other areas of the country. But of course, I know about the Iberian lynx and the wolves and all of that. But like you said, it's amazing. It's just funny because sometimes here in the Algarve, I tell people, yeah, we have wildlife, but we don't have danger encounters. We don't have bears and deers or whatever, or pumas, cougars. So you can just venture out and walking. Because of course, sometimes when people they travel to a country, I mean, if I'm gonna travel to some country, I need to know if I mean I mean I mean I'm not going to find some danger animals, right?
Let me
I would
summarize
never.
it. Portugal is not Australia.
No, 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 not even Brazil, not even Brazil or something. So, but yes, it's very safety here. We just walk around. Most of the wild animals, they just run away from us. So here, the wild rabbits and or wild boars or something, they just run away from us. So it's a very safety place to explore this beautiful nature. And well, from my hand, I think it's everything.
In
Portugal
the
is really a great
Algarve,
country.
you actually have two animals that I like very much. You have the chameleons
Yeah, chameleons. Yeah.
and you have the seahorses in Ria
Yes.
Formosa.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
for
of
people
course,
who like to do some scuba diving,
yeah.
Ria Formosa
Y-
is beautiful.
There are some tours, there's still some tours that they go to visit the seahorse reserves when the water is shallow at low tide. And of course, I think you know this too. About 20, 25 years ago, we had the biggest reserve in the world. Well, so in short, Portugal is amazing when it comes also for wildlife and nature wonders. Leonel,
Absolutely.
something
So,
else to add?
well, just to pick up something that Sergio mentioned, 10 minutes away from where I live, we have the Iberian uh, center to recover the Iberian wolves. So the wolves that were injured and so on. Okay, so we have like a wolf sanctuary 10 minutes away from here, just right next to Tapada Nacional de Mafra. That was the hunting ground of the royalty, and now it's a nice park to visit as well. And I just got to know that somewhere near Punta de Lima, there's also an association to preserve the habitat of the Iberian wolf. I just stumbled into that by coincidence. Well, the Iberian wolves, they are just amazing animals and beautiful, beautiful to watch. So there's a big effort to recover them. And yes, half an hour away from Lisbon, we have the Wolf Sanctuary that, well, it's a non-profit organization and also, well, deserves some help. Well, from my side, I don't have much to add. Like always, this was a great chat, and
Exactly.
I want
Time
to
flew
thank
by.
everybody. I want to thank everybody who watched, everybody who asked some questions. Well, this will be shortly on YouTube as well. Good evening, Vitor. So welcome. You can watch us later while we are just finishing over here. But
Welcome and bye
well,
bye.
we'll be back here next week with another great stuff. And I'm just gonna drop here some topic. Well, we spoke about nature in the winter. In a few months, we can speak about nature in the summer. So river beaches, praias fluviais can be an interesting topic in a few weeks, because it's not only the beach in the ocean that is
Oh yeah,
amazing to enjoy. Okay.
sure.
So from my side, well, I want to thank everybody, and well, we'll see you back next week.
I'm just going to drop one final teaser because we're
Okay.
talking about nature. We're in February. February is the month of the flowering almond trees at the Douro
Mhm.
Valley. So keep this in mind if you're going to the Douro Valley this month, and even in early March. Keep an eye out on the flowering trees in the area. Those are going to be
That's
those are
amazing.
going to be the almond trees. So, yep,
Beautiful. Everywhere.
guys,
Beautiful.
great chat as
Bye bye
always.
then,
Thank
guys.
you.
We'll
See
Have
you
be
a
next
back
great
week.
over here next week. Have a great
have
week,
a great
everyone.
week ahead. Bye bye, guys.
Bye.